Hello, my friends. Just something I want to get off my chest. I'm working on a couple of things. One is about intellectual vertigo today because I keep watching the people that I watch because I'm weird. And I have this feeling that not many people in the world give a damn about these uh, web intellectuals and so on, intellectual influencers. So the world just continues to chug ahead the way it is. And I guess for most people, that's enough because, if you have a ticket to the show, you're fine. If you're completely stressed and impoverished, well, you're not fine. But anyway, the people who are fine don't care because they're fine. The people who aren't fine can't care because they just don't have enough energy to care about whatever. And then, I'm watching CNN for 2 minutes a day or looking through my RSS feeds and, paying attention to the war. And you see the cheerleaders, the usual thing, whether it happened when we went into Iraq, it happened when we went into Afghanistan. There's always good reasons for America to have bases around the world and to go into places. And people argue that without the United States of new miracles, the world would be dead now because the whole universe lies under the security umbrella of the United States. So thank God for that exceptional country. Otherwise, we'd all be dead now. Okay, fine, argue that. I think if you do that, you're not looking at the whole picture and you're kind of ignorant. But maybe if you did a little more reading around the subject, you might see some other angles to it. There's also this binary of good guys and bad guys in Ukraine. We have to flood the zone with weapons because there are bad guys in there and they all have to die. And eventually Putin needs to go down and so on and so forth. Oh, that's great. Kill all the bad guys, cowboys and Indians. Okay, let's go get the savages. If they don't want to be Christianized, kill them. I always have this feeling that America wants the world to be Americanized, otherwise destroyed. And there's lots of arguments for that. I'm not the only guy who espouses that or thinks about it because I don't espouse anything. I'm just parroting stuff that I read and learn and so on. I'm no expert, but it's easy to see how that could be so. Uh, and you can read about it. I mean, our leaders have said, we're not aggressive enough. We should have destroyed the Middle East if they didn't want to be Americanized, And because we didn't, there was 9/11 and then the whole thing. Well, we've been in Afghanistan and Iraq for decades, and one can debate, I suppose, if one wants to, the value of those excursions and military operations. What did they get us? I don't know. Do you? Is the world a safer place? Is the Middle East a safer place? Is the Middle East a place you want to go on a trip with your kids to see the ruins of the ancient Buddhas or to look at the construction projects in some bombed out city in Syria? I don't think anyone will be going there as a tourist anytime soon because it's wrecked. And you can talk about Central America and South America and East Timor and all these things. What value did the world get out of it at the end of the day? Let's forget about WW1 and 2 and the Korean War and even throw Vietnam aside for now. It doesn't matter. I think leaders in the world have a responsibility, just as corporate leaders have a responsibility, a fiduciary responsibility to shareholders to make money. Our political leaders have a responsibility to keep the peace and make peace. Security, by and large, includes that work as well as war work. But how can anyone argue with me that the military-industrial complex is not an extremely lucrative bunch of businesses? And for everyone who's really excited to watch the hardware go into Ukraine, I really, really hope you have stock in some of those companies or companies that support those companies. So at least you're making money like a bandit. And when the world finally heats up, you can get your place in the Arctic or somewhere you think's going to be safe and do your prepping work. But anyway, you have these cheerleaders. They've never done anything in their life. They couldn't even have a fucking fist fight because they're such pussies, but they think they're tough. And, maybe they were an army man for a few years when they were a kid and got to play with guns. They've never been in a war zone. They've never killed anybody. But anyway, they've never been really, really under any kind of stress. But they're really excited to see the good guys fighting the bad guys again. I want to bring up the nuclear war issue. Yes, that's a problem. And if you don't think it is, you're crazy. Every military professional around the world is gaming out the possibility of a nuclear exchange, whether it's a military limited one, just focused on military assets around the world, whether it's a limited nuclear war that's a little bit broader, or whether it's an all-out nuclear war. They're always thinking about it. There are dozens of places you can go to learn about the various scenarios of a nuclear exchange. So yes, if you are going to war with Putin or Russia, right? The whole bloody country, its government, not just Putin, you have to consider nuclear war, don't you? I mean, everybody is, so you might want to do that as well because it is an issue. The other thing is exit strategy. So you're going to flood the zone with weapons. Maybe you're going to volunteer. You're going to go over there and be a sniper, or you're going to train people, or maybe you're going to give money. Maybe they'll have a crowdfunding project where you can give money to mercenary groups that go to Ukraine and fight the Russians. Well, good, bully for you. Spend your money any way you want to. Support the mercenaries. Maybe the academy is going to get a contract from the United States to go in there with some soldiers that they can put together. The French Foreign Legion. Oh, how exciting! Or any number of groups and thugs and terrorist organizations from Chechnya to wherever that want to go in there and join the fight for whatever reason. What's your exit strategy? I mean, while you're watching CNN and reading The Economist magazine and the New York Times and learning everything you need to know about war and global strategy in war and geopolitics and whatnot, just tell me what your strategy is. The sanctions, you think, and a lot of bloodshed in Ukraine is going to eventually wear out the Russians, and they're going to what? Have a Disneyland outside Moscow? In how many years? Gosh, is Russia a strong country even though everybody says it's weak? Is it a big country with lots of resources, oil and gas and minerals and so on? Does it have allies in the world? Is it really that easy to beat? So what's your strategy? Come on, play it out, game it out if you're so smart. And tell me how you're going to win and what the cost of that quote unquote win is going to be. How many lives, how many cities have to be turned into rubble? How long does the world have to suffer this terrible tragedy for you to be satisfied that the good guys won and the bad guys lost? Give me some ideas. Don't come on and put a dumb comment in my Facebook thread that says, yeah, but they're fighting the bad guys. I mean, that's just stupid. Now, I put lots of dumb things in Facebook threads and on social media. I'm guilty. I really put a lot of stupid stuff out there. So I don't blame you for that. It's not, a Facebook thread isn't the place to have a debate about complicated things like this. But yeah, send me a message and tell me how you're going to do it. Or send me 12 links to books and articles and think tanks and so on that have gamed it out and know how they're going to win this war, come away with a win. Otherwise, we're just in the forever war state again. I don't want to go back and, well, let's say from 2010 on, were you really interested in Ukraine? Did you know anything about that country or the region? Did you follow the war in Georgia? Did you follow Putin in Chechnya? Did you really pay attention when the Donbass thing heated up, when the Crimea was taken? No, you didn't. You didn't care. I mean, you just probably said something offhand about an article you read in The Economist or the New York Times or somewhere. Or you watched a podcast or something and you parroted back something that you saw there, but you didn't care. You didn't delve into it. You don't know shit about it. None of us do. And yet we're flies on the wall. We somehow know what Putin's thinking. We somehow know what his government's going to do, the military's going to do. We absolutely know the disposition of the soldiers. You know, are they motivated or not? How's the morale? Oh, we know, don't we? Because we read a Times article or because we watched CNN or Fox or something. So we're absolutely sure they're just completely dejected and they're going to walk off the battlefield. We don't know. But my main point here is you didn't know shit before. You don't know shit now. And why aren't we talking to our leaders about peacemaking and peacekeeping? Why don't we get more involved on that side of things? And how come if you're interested in that side of things, you're called an idiot or a pussy or somebody who's not strong, manly? That's stupid. That's just ridiculous. And by the way, we're living in a world that has a lot of serious problems and existential threats to think about. I mean, social media has thrown a monkey wrench into culture globally, worldwide. And we're going to have to sort that out somehow. You know, technology, can we really deal with it? We don't, you know, do you really know what's coming? Are you a sovereign man? Are you a guy who's going to upload your mind into the cloud or something? What's this metaverse mean? What does new types of currency mean? How's it going to change our world and the way we do things? Are we going to have any freedom and privacy in the future? What about free speech? What about the sixth extinction or biodiversity or any kind of ecological crisis? And what about all these other terrible wars and terrorist organizations around the world that just chug along? Yeah, we can absorb a lot of probably all of Ukrainians could probably just move to Europe and be fine. Europe's economy would probably do better having Ukrainians here. And Ukraine can be ground to dust and the Russians can move in. Or you seem to have some idea that that the West is gonna win. Finland joins NATO, Sweden joins NATO, and suddenly the world's laughing. You know, they put more defensive missiles on the border, everybody's laughing. The damn Russians, the damn Chinese. But we can't somehow even imagine living in a multipolar world or making peace with countries, collaborating with countries. This whole space station thing is going to hell. That's off the map now. Sorry, I've been sick. So, you know, it's a thing. You sit on your hands thinking you're smart, hardly paying attention. A big war comes along, gets your attention. You get all excited about beating the bad guy, Putin being evil and all that kind of stuff, which he's obviously fuckwit asshole, and he's evil and he's stupid. He didn't have to invade Ukraine. I don't think anybody was going to invade Russia, you know, regardless of the NATO posturing or whatever. I mean, just a while ago, good old Trump was in office and NATO was like, you know, marginalized. So, gosh, another couple of years from now, there'll probably be a Trumpian Republican in office and they'll be high-fiving Putin. Who knows? But we don't want to focus on peace. Why don't we want to focus on natural services and taking care of our environment? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with tackling the huge amounts of money that go to the top? For God's sake, come on. I mean, can we learn from COVID-19 and from the 2008 housing and debt crisis? Can we learn from having left Afghanistan last year and then just getting so excited about being involved in another war in Ukraine? Are there better things for us to do? Do you want your leaders to focus on other things, or are you just happy because you can buy a ticket to the football game and to the UFC, and you can get a bump every once in a while when you're celebrating with your workmates? Kids are having a problem, in the world of social media. There are things to focus on, things to do, and I think it's just dumb to cheerlead this war as if it was the cowboys and Indians, right? You want to dehumanize Native Americans? I used to when I was a kid. I'd go out and play, with my friends in Newmarket, and we'd fucking kill all the Indians in the world, And I'd go back to Denver, and we'd murder Nazis and Indians day and night because we were kids playing army. But this isn't that, is it? I mean, grow up, and if you're a young, tough guy, fine, do what you got to do. Some Canadian snipers over there getting some. Good for him. Whatever. If that's what he does, that's what he does. But I think it's all freaking ridiculous. And I wish the world would grow up and start thinking about taking care of what matters. Because whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or this or that in any country doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you want to buy gas and oil at a reasonable price and groceries, and you want to have some entertainment and enjoy a peaceful life with your family and friends and have some fun every once in a while and take a trip. And we're not going to be able to do that if we continue to support the conditions and this that we have now. The whole system got us a long way, got us a lot of cool stuff. But we're at a crisis point now, whether you think so or not. And we probably always are. And we have to keep our eyes on the ball and continue to tweak things and adjust things so that we don't get in big trouble. I made a quip the other day. Some guy's saying, yeah, I know it's dangerous. We're in a tornado area, but, that's what my barn's for, Well, the tornado will blow through here, but it's never going to hit my house. I got the barn out there for it to hit. Yeah, right. And nothing's going to happen to you and yours where you are because it's all fine, is it? Right? Or it would be fine if everybody was of a certain ethnic type or something, or a certain religious belief or something. We got to tackle this stuff. It's a big deal. So anyway, if you have some ideas about how we're going to come out of this terrible tragedy that I believe could have been prevented if our leaders gave a damn about doing that, and believe me, come on. You know how the government works in the world these days, and probably always has. You get money from your donors, your corporate backers, your whatever, and you just make BS appeals to the voters. You don't really care about them. And whether it doesn't matter what you think as a voter, they don't give a shit about you. Maybe some local politicians care because you can go down to their office and give them hell. But otherwise, it's lip service. I don't know why we put up with it, really. I mean, it really doesn't matter what party they're with. And I'm not being cynical. This is just the way it's it is nowadays. I mean, there's way too much power with corporations and with money now in politics around the world. And of course, it's different in different places. Some places are more corrupt, obviously, or they have a different kind of corruption because their systems are different. But it all looks mafia to me. It all looks Goomba, really. And I can't stand it. So, tell me your plan, tough guy. You're gonna uh, cheerlead all the arms sales. I really hope you're getting paid for that somehow, dude. I hope, because yeah, that'll be good for you and yours. Of course, innocent people are dying in Ukraine. Doesn't have to be that way, in my opinion. So, Bully MT out.